Okay, so if you've bought a DS Lite top screen and you want to replace your broken screen, I'm not going to show you the whole stripping down. So I've already stripped most of the DS down at the moment. It's a little knack to this, and you're pushing the back, you're pushing this forward, and that'll just open it up a little bit. And what I tend to do is just pop a little blade or a screwdriver or something in there, just lightly, and that should just pop things open. To get the screen out, if you just put some pressure on from the front, not too hard or you will crack the casing. Just as you can see, a nice even amount of pressure, just like that. At this stage it doesn't matter if you damage the orange cable because this screen is already broken, but what I would suggest is that you're careful with it, and then that way you can get a bit of practice in, and when you're putting the working one in, you've got a little bit more of a handle on things. First thing to do, take out the Wi-Fi component and the microphone, sorry. And then the way to remove the cable is just to twist it in on itself, like so. Once you've got it sort of twisted, you can then kind of just sort of squeeze and manipulate it into a smaller and tighter circle, and then you should be able to just pull that through there nicely. Okay, now we want to take the speakers. We want to take the speakers from the old screen and use them on the new one. I'm just tinning my soldering iron. I haven't used it for a few days. You apply some flux to the speaker area. You can use a flux pen or you can use some paste flux. And just tin each of those squares. And then reattach the speakers. I should have prepared my soldering iron a little bit better for this video. I guess as it's not a soldering instructional video, more focused on the screen, no big deal. What I like to do is just tape the longer speaker wire. I just like to tape that so it's running along the back of the screen and it doesn't get in the way later. This is not necessary, but it's something I always like to do. Okay, so there now you have the screen soldered. The next thing I like to do is feed the screen back through the casing, and then I can mess about with putting the screen covers back on and things. So what we need to do is basically twist this into what some people call a cigar shape or a tube shape. So you're basically rolling it back on itself. And hopefully, as you can see, that's then a nice tube shape. You get that fairly tight, and then you can just push that through. The opening, and it should go through fairly easy. If it doesn't, just take your time, you know, take it back out, just roll it again, roll it tight, and you basically you don't want to be putting any pressure on the sides of the cables, and it just wants to be all very gentle movements. Next thing is to put the microphone and the Wi-Fi board back in. Wrong way. Again, if you make any mistakes, just nice and gently, there's no hurry here. And you just push the cable into the little grooves there, so it's out of the way. Again, just push them into the grooves, and that'll just keep them out of the way when you're setting the screen in place. Okay, so just pause, make sure you have everything in place. Yeah, everything looks fine. What I'm now going to do is transfer the screen cover from one to the next. Now, you want to try and do this as quickly as you can, so you're not going to accumulate a lot of dust in between the screen and the screen cover. It won't be too much of a problem when you're playing the games. You probably won't see it, but it is going to look a little bit messy. A good thing you can have is compressed air, so you can blow the air out of the place. One way to do this, just slide your blade in there. Don't take it too far, because if you go too far in, you might mark the back of the screen. So you're just really trying to get in on an edge. and if this comes off all in one go, that's ideal. So again, just nice, slow, gentle, solid movements. There's various ways to do this, but one way I often like to do this is just to sit it in there, sit it in first, and then you know it's in the right position. Now just, you know, on the corners, just make sure that it has gone through the case, and then it's just sitting there level. That seems okay, so next thing I'm going to do is just remove the plastic. Not a very common thing, but one thing I've just seen there is that the screen has a lot of grease and thumb marks on. So what I'm going to do, just with my t-shirt, is just wipe them off. I don't have a particularly soft t-shirt on, so may do the job. I may have to go and get a softer cloth. Well, it looks like it should be okay, but we are going to get sort of a little dust debris on, which I'm going to use the compressed air just to blow that off. Just use a nice light circular movement. If you go too heavy, you know, you could scratch the screen. And we've got a bit of compressed air there. I do just have a little bit in the corner here, which and what I'm going to try and do is just drop it on in the right position. So that's nice in the right position. Now you sometimes find with the replacement screens they're just fractionally bigger than the original ones, so you might have to just push them in there lightly. But hopefully, yeah, that seems to have done the trick, and that the screen's sat quite nice and in the right alignment. Just sit the speakers in. And again, just push the cables back into the groove. If you don't do that, you know, you could have them sort of sat over some of the corners, and when you put the casing back together, it's going to squeeze the cables, which shouldn't stop them working, but it may affect your case going back together nicely, and perhaps over time it could even, you know, break the cable and separate them. Now you notice I am using a blade here, but I'm not using the sharp end. I'm just using the back of the blade, so I'm not likely to cut these. And when you put the top case back on, you're putting it slightly out of alignment, it's slightly further up, and the reason for that is once you've got it on, you then push it down, and the catches will go into place. Obviously put your screws in, put the rest of the case in, but that's then basically how to replace the screen.